Hello everyone, today is 3rd of March, now it's 10 past 9 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Later on today, at about 6 o'clock in the evening, I will start a traditional, I will say, community chat live stream on my YouTube channel, and I hope you will find time to join the conversation. We can discuss any topic in real time, exchange opinions, summarize or analyze previous week, or make some predictions for near future. It's always good fun, this community chat, so hopefully you will manage to join during the stream. Of course, I will share announcement about the stream some 10-15 minutes before it starts on the community page on YouTube and also on my Telegram channel and Twitter X page. That's been said, let's go through some news, and I will try to be fast, by the way, in order to make this update as short as possible, some 30-35 minutes. Let's see if I will manage that. And the first news is that during the night time, early hours of this morning, Russian air defense systems intercepted 7 drones that were launched by Kyiv regime to strike deep inside Russian territory. Drones were intercepted over the Lipetsk, Rostov and Belgorod regions. Also, by the way, we are receiving reports that there was a fire on oil depot in Ufa, which is quite far away from line of contact, and there are some sources especially on Telegram, reported that this fire was a cause of a drone strike that was conducted by Kyiv regime. Official statements are different. According to official statements, the preliminary cause of the fire at the Ufa oil refinery was technological processes. At this point, for 9:10 in the morning, fire was extinguished, according to media reports. Obviously, I cannot know for sure, was it a drone attack or it was some technological processes, but Ufa itself is located quite far away from Kyiv-controlled territory. It's about like 1,400 kilometers. This is the location of Ufa city, by the way, and this is so-called Ukraine. Unfortunately, even if it was a drone strike, by the way, unfortunately, during the high-intensity conflicts, that kind of stuff might happen to even best air defense systems in this world, and Russia definitely has one of the best, if not the best, air defense systems, but even they are unable to intercept 100% of incoming targets, always, constantly, and sometimes that kind of stuff does happen. Some drones manage to bypass air defense systems, and I'm afraid this kind of incidents will continue to occur as long as the Western ruling class, NATO member states, are providing Kyiv regime with their intelligence information, first of all satellite intelligence information for flight path and targeting data, and also as long as NATO is providing Kyiv regime with long-range weapon systems, including long-range drones that are used during this long-range strikes. And on the topic of weapons that West is providing this terrorist regime of Zelensky, this morning media reported that potentially today Donald Trump will have a meeting with other high-ranking officials, and a topic of discussion might be ending military aid to Kyiv regime. So US President Donald Trump will meet with the US officials to consider and possibly take a number of measures against Kyiv, including stopping military assistance. New York Times reported about it earlier. Trump will meet on Monday with his top national security including Secretary of the State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pat Hexed, to review and possibly take action on a number of strategies regarding Ukraine, the publication said, citing officials from the Trump's administration. According to this source of New York Times, the upcoming discussions might affect their suspension or even termination of military assistance to Kiev, including the supply of munition and equipment approved by administration of former President Joe Biden. If true, by the way, if true, well, that's definitely going to be a step forward towards, on part of US, towards the escalation with Russia, because obviously it is hard to have a negotiation for Russia with the US while very same country still provides intelligence information to Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky, and also weapons to harm Russia and Russians, right? So if Trump and his administration are serious about de-escalating with Russia and ending this proxy war, obviously one of their steps in this direction would be to suspend to terminate any weapons deliveries or munitions deliveries to terrorist regime of Zelensky. And also, I hope US will stop providing intelligence information to Kyiv regime and to NATO member states that are then transferring this information to Kyiv regime. All these long-range strikes that are conducted, by the way, are done with the intelligence data that Kyiv regime is receiving from the West. We all know that, isn't it? But information itself from New York Times, if true, is definitely something positive that gives us a hope that Trump's administration is actually serious about de-escalating. And on this topic, by the way, we have this report here from RT that according to US official, another one, US will not provide financial assistance to Zelensky's terrorist regime until Zelensky will start seek peace. So Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky, so-called leader, I will say, Vladimir Zelensky was given a clear message during his meeting with US President Donald Trump on Friday that further financial support hangs on Ukraine's willingness to negotiate peace. US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has stated his comments follow Zelensky's heated confrontation with Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance a few days ago. And also some positive news here that at least indirectly signals that US might be serious, US leadership might be serious about the escalation. And also we have this report that US not planning to sign mineral deals with Ukraine, at least no more. According to Treasury Secretary, the US administration is no longer looking at the signing a rare earth and other minerals agreement with the Ukraine. US Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent stated once again something of positive, because obviously, as I was saying in previous updates, dear friends, there was no point for US really to sign anything with Zelensky, because Zelensky is illegit, right? He has no legitimacy to sign anything on behalf of Ukraine, right? So therefore, that paper that Trump and Zelensky might sign a few days ago would be absolutely nothing, right? Empty paper. And it is good that US leadership make up its mind and they are no longer willing to sign anything with Zelensky. Most likely Washington will push to replace Zelensky with someone that will have some sort of legitimacy. And on this topic, by the way, top US officials suggested exactly that Zelensky may need to go. So Washington is unsure whether Vladimir Zelensky is the right man to lead Ukraine at this junction. The US National Security Advisor Michael Welzer has told the CNN. The official argued that Friday's incident between the Ukrainian leader, President Donald Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance indicated that Zelensky may not be ready to talk peace. And, well, what can I say when Mike Waltz, high-ranking official, and at this point probably one of the most influential figure in U.S. administration, is saying that maybe indirectly, but still, when he is indicating that Zelensky is not ready for peace, and therefore maybe, some steps are needed to change this situation. Well, that's serious stuff, and this information only confirms what I was saying for the last number of days and even weeks, right? Since Trump's inauguration, that U.S. has a issue on its hands, U.S. leadership. Zelensky is a asset that did go rogue and looking for another masters now in Europe, and probably did find one in London. But anyways, I think US leadership definitely is in a position and has enough influence to implement whatever policies they want to implement in regards to Zelensky. And if Washington decided that it is time for Zelensky to go, that's what is going to happen, one way or another, peacefully or not so, but Zelensky will go. And US has all the means to achieve that. Meanwhile, by the way, CNN is reporting US propaganda outlet, I will say, of the deep state and the neolibs. CNN is all the globalists, by the way. CNN is reporting that meeting between Putin and Trump is being prepared at an accelerated pace. So preparations for the meeting of the presidents of the Russian Federation and the United States, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, are underway at an accelerated pace, CNN reports. Privately, it is said that the summit of Trump and Putin now it is accelerating. The TV channel said in a statement. CNN suggests that Trump's exchange with Zelensky in the White House could have been planned by the administration of their American leader in order to discredit Zelensky and remove him from further negotiations. I mean, that's everything that is wrong with this globalist propaganda outlets, by the way, as CNN is. They are coming up with some crazy, absolutely crazy, some conspiracy theories, right? That all that situation was pre-planned by Trump and Vance. What the hell? We all watched that video, isn't it? And Vance and Trump were honestly upset that Guest was acting irresponsibly, and their Guest was actually insulting with his behavior hostile nation and the leadership of US and the country itself. Nothing like that we see in Oval Office a few days ago had ever happened there, right? And still, by the way, these globalist propaganda outlets like CNN and MSNBC and the European propaganda outlets of globalists, they are still pushing this narrative that this was a pre-planned by J.D. Vance and the Trump. Unbelievable, man. These so-called media outlets are run by psychopaths, man. I'm telling you. When it comes to Trump Putin's meeting, yet again, obviously some ground have to be prepared for such a meeting to take place. And if reports are correct that US is considering to stop arms deliveries to give regime, US considers to stop sharing intelligence information. Also, there was a report that, and I spoke about it today and in previous updates, that US might stop also financial aid to Zelensky's regime. That will be, of course, good enough steps forward to create situation when two leaders might have opportunity to talk, right? And this talk to be productive. Because I don't think any of them, Trump or Putin, need some media attention. They are not seeking no attention, right? They are in headlines anyways, right? And they don't need a meeting just for a meeting. They need this meeting to be productive. And hopefully, U.S. administration will take whatever steps are necessary to ensure that this meeting, if and when it will take place, will be productive. And on that matter, by the way, later on I will report about information that Trump's administration might be in talks to resume operations on a Nord Stream pipeline. which is quite interesting, isn't it? Although with the involvement of US businesses, but still, I think at one point US will of course have to pay compensation to Russia, obviously, for all the wrongdoing, including destruction of their Nord Stream pipeline. This is just I mean, these topics cannot be forgotten. US obviously have to agree on the concessions, serious concessions, and compensations have to be paid also for death and destruction that was caused by US involvement in this proxy war against Russia, and the death of thousands and thousands of Russian citizens. After all, US didn't declare war on Russia, right? And so yes, I expect that US will agree on serious concessions, and hopefully two countries will manage to somewhat normalize relationships. This is necessary for US also, not just for Russia, but also for US, because it's Washington that losing its stands on the world stage, isn't it? While being involved in this proxy war against Russia, and while become weaker and weaker longer this conflict continues, especially in certain parts of this world where US might have actually strategical interests to protect. You all understand what am I talking about, isn't it? So let's see, but it is good to know, if CNN is not lying, by the way, on this matter, that representatives of Trump and Putin are working to organize a meeting between the two leaders as fast as possible. Meanwhile, by the way, while Washington is pushing for peace, at least it seems like for now, right? I hear voices of skeptics that Washington cannot be trusted and this is some sort of game, and in reality Washington don't want no peace. I hear those voices of skeptics. I myself skeptic, right? Big time. But we should wait and see what real steps will be taken by Trump's administration, isn't it? At least on the level of statements, they are all about ceasefire or truce, or the ending of the hostilities for peace, right? And de-escalation, which is good, by the way. I cannot criticize Washington for talking about peace, right? Meanwhile, while Washington is on side of peace, seems like other countries from collective West under leadership of UK are further escalating with Russia, and UK's Prime Minister Starmer announced creation of coalition of willing to further rearm, reinforce key regime, and eventually to deploy NATO troops into this into territory of this former Soviet republic, which is definitely attempt to provoke direct war between Russia and NATO. That's what it is, by the way. And seems like European so-called elites in France, Germany, Poland, UK, some other countries, they are not just not hearing what Moscow has to say, but they are ignoring it completely, as if Moscow is not even exists, right? And this is first of all grave mistake, and secondly, this clearly indicates that their intention is not peace. The intention is to further escalate and potentially to provoke direct war between NATO and Russia, at least between NATO's European members and Russia. Let's go through this news anyways. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced that the UK and France are ready to lead the coalition of the willing to provide military support to Ukraine, including the deployment of troops and aircraft, aiming to secure Kiev's positions once peace deal with Moscow has been reached. During their emergency summit in London on Sunday, Yesterday, these prostitutes gathered in London, by the way, prostitutes that call themselves leaders of the European states. So during an emergency summit of these prostitutes in London on Sunday, following Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky's disastrous trip to Washington, Stammer emphasized their necessity for the EU and their other sponsors to step up and take a leading role in supporting Kiev, while acknowledging that some nations have little to contribute. He insisted that those willing should act with urgency. So, yet again, I spoke about risks of direct clashes between European NATO member states and Russia previously in number of occasions. Not everybody in our community, I will say probably majority even of our community, took these warnings of mine skeptically, because none of us wants such an escalation to happen, obviously. But me personally, I'm quite sure that Western so-called elites, European so-called elites, want to provoke direct war with Russia, because they see this as the only opportunity to keep US involved in this proxy war with Russia. Because without US, by the way, who are they? All these prostitutes that are put in position of power in Europe, in European states, they used to bark a lot, right? Behind the back of US, because US is and was main enforcer of the Western ruling class. But without US, who are these prostitutes, man? You tell me, who are they? Who cares what they have to say or what they are planning to do? Russia can deal with them easy, really. I mean, Russia did it historically several times, did put her European so-called elites in their places, and Russia is ready to do that again if necessary. Although nobody here in Russia seeks war with Europe, but if they want to attack us, and they clearly won't, right? Then, well, we will defend ourselves, and we will do whatever is necessary. So risk is real, by the way. Risk is real, and I guess administration of Trump understands that, and maybe they will really accelerate talks with Moscow to make sure that no matter what kind of provocations these so-called leaders of Europe gonna come up with, US will stay out of it. That's what is going on now, because everyone understands in US, in Russia, that these European Chihuahua politicians and they have no chances, right? Unfortunately, they are capable of harming Russia some ways, but we can withstand that. We can deal with them. And we can put them in their places. And we will, if it comes to it. TASS news agency is also reporting that Britain and France will present a plan for resolving the conflict in Ukraine to the United States. They are not looking for no resolutions for this conflict. This is all, at least that's how I see this, by the way. And I think many people here in Russia, I wouldn't say majority, although most likely that is the case, but I think very many people here in Russia has the same reading of the big picture, that these individuals cannot be trusted. They are not for peace, they are for war, right? They are war party. And I think Washington sees them exactly as such. United Kingdom and France, together with their authorities in Kiev, will begin working on a plan to end their hostilities in Ukraine and then submit it to the United States. This was announced in an interview with the Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, by Prime Minister there, Keir Starmer. And then, quote, the UK, together with France and possibly a number of other countries, will work with Ukraine on a plan to end hostilities. Then we will discuss this with the United States, he said. The Prime Minister argued that London is interested in ending the conflict, which is not in the national interests of the United Kingdom. At the same time, what? He said the Prime Minister argued that London is interested in ending the conflict, which is not in the national interests of the United Kingdom. He really said that ending of the conflict not in the national interests of the United Kingdom. Maybe there's some issue with translation here. I don't know, but if he said that, then well, well, he confirmed, isn't it, by saying so what I just spoke about this war party. They don't want no ending of the conflict. They are all about escalation. At the same time, he called on European countries to continue providing military assistance to Kyiv to strengthen its negotiating position. Stammer said that the European summit, which was held yesterday, by the way, in London, will focus on the formation of a military coalition of goodwill to ensure the security of Ukraine after the conflict is resolved. According to him, the participants of the meeting will discuss ways to provide security guarantees for Ukraine in order to achieve lasting peace. They want to deploy troops, obviously. Keir Starmer spoke about this many times, and yesterday he also spoke about that UK willing to put its boots on the ground. And French so-called president, Emmanuel Macron also spoke about it. So we have headline from Commerçant newspaper here that Macron reveals a European peace plan for Ukraine, or at least a framework of it. So Franco-British plan consists of two stages. First stage, ceasefire in the air and the sea, as well as the introduction of the moratorium on strikes on energy facilities. The first phase should last a month. Second phase, sending peacekeepers to the territory of Ukraine. Yeah, of course, dream about it. The French president believes that within a few days, the settlement, if the conflict in Ukraine can get off the ground, Macron believes that in a few days this may be done. Yeah, I mean, these are psychos, by the way. I mean, what am I even commenting here? What am I even commenting, man? These are crazies, isn't it? These two topics, by the way. Ceasefire, no, there will be no ceasefire. Russia said many times, Russian leadership, that there will be no ceasefire. Russia is not interested in a ceasefire. Because we all know perfectly well that if any ceasefire will be agreed, then enemies of Russia will use this time to rearm and reinforce their proxy in Kyiv, right? And its forces. We all know that. So Moscow will never agree on temporary solutions. Moscow is about ending the crisis once and for all, right? And to achieve that, root causes of the crisis have to be addressed. But European so-called elites, they don't want this. They don't want this, right? They want this proxy war to continue. And that's why they are coming up with this nonsensical stuff, by the way. And when it comes to sending peacekeepers to our territory, yet again, Moscow was very clear that no NATO troops will be acceptable for Moscow on territory of Ukraine. But yet again, European so-called elites, they're ignoring Moscow completely. I mean, you tell me, dear friends, how out of touch with reality these psychopaths really are, that they are talking about, at least pretending to talk about peace, right? And none of them, not Macron, not Stammer, not her German chancellor, outgoing chancellor, not her Italian prime minister, none of them are trying to communicate with the Russian side to understand what is the Russian position. If they were honest, obviously they would talk to Russian side too, right? That's how conflictology works, right? If you want to really de-escalate something, you have to have a conversation with everybody that are involved. But they are not serious, by the way. They are all about prolonging this conflict. They want British and French troops and maybe troops from some other countries be sent in Ukraine. They know that at one point clashes will erupt between, there will be, you know, clashes, skirmishes between Russian and these NATO troops that UK, France, and some others might send into Ukraine, and they will use this as an excuse to launch full-scale war on Russia. That's their plan, and they will use this to keep US involved in this war, right? That they are waging against us. That's all it is, man. If anybody takes seriously these European prostitutes, then I don't know, I have Mount Everest to sell to that guy or girl, right? Lady or gentleman. Our team, meanwhile, is reporting that Canada, by the way, Canada could send troops to Ukraine also, according to Trudeau. Okay. There is enough place there to bury all of them. Entire Canadian army, entire British army, and entire French army. There is enough land there to bury entire armies of these hostile states, right? Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has claimed that his country is considering all possible options and is not ruling out sending troops after British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced a new coalition of the willing to secure Kiev's positions should a peace deal with Moscow be reached. They are constantly using this wording, isn't it? Peace deal, ceasefire, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, they are all about war, by the way. They are all about war because they know they are European elites, part of Western ruling class that prioritizes Europe. They know, by the way, they lost, and they lost big time. And in a couple of decades, they will be absolutely irrelevant on the world stage. And they cannot face this reality. They cannot face this reality, and that's why they are acting this irresponsibly, this crazy. And that's why they are actually pushing for a direct war with Russia. But we are ready, by the way. We are ready. We can take them out for sure, man. And maybe we will have to do it. As I said, by the way, none of us wants any war with anybody. But if it comes to it, then well, my grandfather was fighting against Nazi Germany, right? His grandfather was fighting against Napoleon. And well, if it is time for us, for my generation, to fight yet again against European invaders, then let's be it, man. We are ready. RT is reporting that OSCE shared intel with Ukraine before 2022. Ex-Greek ambassador was stating that. And this information is once again demonstrates why Russia cannot trust any European so-called institution or any institution, so-called international institution that is controlled by the West. During their armed standoff between the Ukrainian government and their two breakaway regions in Donbass between 2014 and 2022, before Russia started special military operation, observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, secretly shared the intelligence with Kiev. Former Greek ambassador to Ukraine, Vasilos Barnovas, has claimed in an interview with the Greece Hellas Journal last Monday. Barnovas said that during his visits to the conflict zone, he had witnessed the use of classified information by Kiev's forces sent by observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe regarding the positions of weapons belonging to Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics. The diplomat recounted that since these positions were immediately hit by Ukrainian fire, it was obvious that their observers' report first went it was obvious that observers of OSCE was sharing information to Kiev regime, and basically they were acting as assets of the Kiev regime, right? Obviously under orders of the Western ruling class. And this is a Greek ambassador, by the way, and Greek is a former ambassador, and unfortunately Greek right now is a active member of this Russophobic anti-Russian coalition, which is shame, but you know. So that's why we cannot trust nobody, by the way, you know. And that's why if any negotiations will take place between Russia and countries from collective West, Moscow will be very cautious, very careful, and obviously Moscow will insist that some mechanisms are put in place to make sure that if any agreements are reached by sides, these agreements are actually working and are not annulled after a week or two or a month, right? Anyways, let's continue. And also interesting news, dear friends, that Western so-called celebrities were paid millions to back this terrorist regime in so-called Ukraine. The Hollywood celebrities who visited Ukraine to support their regime there during this ongoing conflict with Russia did not do it out of sympathy, but because they were paid millions. And this was stated by Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Stars trips to Kiev were paid for many with money from USAID, Washington's primarily mechanism for funding political projects abroad, Orban said in an interview with the Hungarian broadcaster TV2 on Saturday. People were given money for their opinions. I am talking about big celebrities and movie stars. They were given money to go to Ukraine, so they did not do it from their heart or out of sympathy for Ukrainians, which could have actually been their case, but because they were given money, he said, and I have no reason to doubt, by the way, statements of Orban. I also, earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, even I read their article exactly about this topic, that USAID was actually involved in paying all these so-called stars, by the way, like Sean Penn and other prostitutes that went there in Kiev to demonstrate how supportive they are. They were part of propaganda operation, right? To demonize Russia as much as possible. And that's why I will never ever have any respect for these dirty freaking bitches, man. Unbelievable, man. What you expect from those animals, man? Anyways, let's continue. And well, before I continue, dear friend, let me notice that this project is completely independent. This small media project from Russia is completely independent. And if you like my channels, if you like my work, if you think I bring something useful to the table, please consider to support my work. You can do it through several means, with donations, through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, where I have quite a lot of extra content, by the way. Or you can subscribe on Boosty page. Yesterday I published first episode of the Heritage program. Video is about Bolshoi Theater, by the way. Everybody heard about Bolshoi, or almost everybody, I guess. But not that many people know some nuances about history of Bolshoi. And well, I did try to share at least some information about this history during that program. I hope community on YouTube, community on Boosty, and the community on Patreon did find it interesting. So yes, you can support by subscribing to my Patreon and Boosty pages, and also crypto, by the way. If you are good with crypto, you can support through that also. All the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. That's been said, let me check how long is this video. By the way, it's already 39 minutes. Okay, just the headlines then. So RIA Novosti is reporting that Israel stops importing humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Israel blocked basically humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip. Israel has stopped humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip after Hamas refused to accept a new regime to continue their truce. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office stated there. This is unfortunate news, sir. Obviously, one may argue that this is an indicator that the Israeli government is planning to renew its military operations in Gaza, and we have additional indicator on that Israel resumes fighting in Han Yunis area, which is a southern Gaza. Israeli forces resumed fighting in southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, launching a series of artillery and tank attacks on their outskirts of Abbasan al-Kabira. This was reported by the Civil Defense Service of their Palestinian enclave. So unfortunately, there is a risk that next phase of hostilities may begin. Also, when it comes to this part of the world, there are some unrest in southern Syria. Local Druze and Christian communities have united, took up arms, and have started a rebellion. So in Syria, the Druze community raised an open uprising, and I believe I read a number of reports that Christian communities also joined. Some of them joined this uprising. So in Syria, the Druze raised an open uprising. The center of their unrest was the southern suburbs of Damascus, the city of Jarama. It is possible that this is a special operation of the Israel to occupy part of these parts of their Syria, also including some areas of Damascus. This was stated, by the way, by a politician here in Russia, Oleg Tsaryov. I don't know how much Israel is involved in all this stuff, but what media reported is that Israel warned Damascus, this pro-Turkish or Turkish-controlled regime in Damascus, that Israel will take actions if they will attack Druze communities. And when it comes to this settlement, by the way, Jaramana, it is basically outskirt of Damascus. So if Israel really plans to establish control, to occupy all this territory from Israeli border to up to Jarama, then wow, that's a quite a area, by the way, quite an area. So this is Damascus, by the way. This is Israel. This is southern Syria, obviously. And when it comes to Jarama, it's on southern eastern part, I believe, somewhere here. I want to find it, man. So this is Damascus, and where is Jarama? Okay, I cannot find it, by the way, now. Okay, I mean, too much time. Anyways, by the way, it's somewhere in suburbs of Damascus. Why I cannot find it, man? What the heck? Okay. I spent too much time on that. Anyways, some serious developments are taking place in southern Syria, and who knows, maybe Israel will get involved openly and will start taking out units of their new regime in Damascus. That's clearly a possibility. Also, by the way, update on Abkhazia, breakaway region from Georgia, former Soviet Republic, which declared independence decades ago, and in 2008 Russia recognized independence of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, another breakaway region of from Georgia. And there was elections, by the way, in Abkhazia, and presidential elections, and Badra Gumba become a new president of this republic. RIA Novosti is also reporting that there is a talks, by the way, allegedly, in US, between US and the operator of their Nord Stream pipelines to resume operations of this pipe. So US presidential envoy for special assignments, Richard Grenell, traveled to Switzerland several times to agree on the resumptions, to discuss basically resumption on the Nord Stream gas pipeline work. The German tabloid Bild reported about it. The envoy at large traveled informally to Switzerland several times to discuss the deal, and we also have on that topic this report that the operator of Nord Stream 2 plans to resume works. Matthias Warning, director of the Nord Stream 2 operator, Nord Stream 2 AG, is going to contact the team of US President Donald Trump to resume the operations of the gas pipeline, the Financial Times writes. Matthias Warning plans to resume the operations of the Russian Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline in Europe with the support of American investors. Warning's plan includes their intention to contact the Trump's team through American entrepreneurs, the publication said. According to Financial Times, important figures in the Trump administration are aware of these plans and see this as an effort to restore relations with Moscow. According to European officials, the leaders of the several EU countries are concerned about this development. So yes, maybe, by the way, maybe there is a talks now, at this stage maybe unofficial, but at one point officials might start openly talk about it, that there might be resolution in regards to Nord Stream 2 pipelines, and who knows, maybe US will authorize its companies to even cooperate with the Nord Stream. And reports are that that's exactly what is going to happen. Some US companies will get involved and will make money from, out of thin air, basically, right? But the question is, by the way, okay, if US wants to, if US is interested now, it may pay compensation to Russian side, and also conduct some works to rebuild the damaged pipelines, right? From 4 pipes, 1 is operational, 3 others are damaged. And so US, yes, can participate in rebuilding on that, all that infrastructure, but and then what? Germany is under control of globalists, right? And maybe Germany will try to distance itself from Washington as much as possible, right? Who knows? And in that case, okay, if pipelines are even fully operational, if Germany will refuse to receive any gas from Russia, then what? Right? So it's not that simple and easy. Obviously, extremely complicated stuff, but it might work one day. One day it might work if US uses its influence to deal with the political class in Germany, to neutralize globalist ones, and to put in power some adequate people. Then who knows? Maybe Germany will also back these plans, and Nord Stream pipelines will start working again. Who knows? In any case, interesting developments there, and I will end this update on that, dear friends. Relatively long update, but hopefully you will find it informative and interesting. After all, there are not that many channels from Russia, isn't it, on Western platforms, social platforms, especially on YouTube, by the way. And not that many opportunity to hear from Russia, or from Russian, to see from Russian perspective certain developments. So anyways, thank you very much for your attention and support. If you like this video, please click that like button, leave some commentary. Thanks to you, dear friends, your likes and comments. Yesterday somehow we managed to deal with the algorithm, and my yesterday's update ended up in recommendations. Many members of our community first time received a recommendation in a long time, a notification, by the way, about my update, and many people see first time my video when they open YouTube. So thank you very much for this support. Truly grateful. And yes, if you can please click that like button, leave some commentary. Maybe we can do it today also, who knows. Please share information about my channel with your friends, offline, online. And if you want to support, you can do it, dear friends. All the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day, successful new week, and take care. Bye for now.